Okay, I think we can go ahead and get things started. First of all, I just want to introduce myself. I'm Tanya Farrell. I'm the Dean of Enrollment Management here at Stuart Hall. Thank you for joining us this evening to learn a bit about Stuart Hall's academic and student life programs. Before we get started, just a couple things. This is being recorded, so if you miss anything, don't worry. We'll be posting it later, and we will have a Q&A session at the end. But as you're hearing from different presenters, if any questions come to mind, go ahead and put it in the chat, and Catherine and I will manage all of that at the end. So to start off, I just want to introduce the rest of the enrollment team. Catherine Meyer, who you see there, she is our Enrollment and Advancement Operations Coordinator. And then Ria Ortiz is our Assistant Dean of Enrollment Management. And to kick things off this evening, I'm going to turn this over to Jason Cody, who is our Head of School.
Think I'd learned by now to unmute. Sorry about that. Thanks, Tanya, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thrilled to have the opportunity to share a little bit tonight about Stuart Hall. I've been a part of this community for 4 years, 3 years as the Dean of Students and Campus Life, and now this year as the Head of School. And I have to say that in 24 years in independent schools, this community is not like anything that I've ever experienced. It is an amazing place to be a part of. All 3 of my children attend Stuart Hall and are having fantastic experiences despite being incredibly different individuals. You're going to hear quite a bit tonight about our academics and campus life and student life programs, some of the different approaches we take to support, and really guiding students through and families through their entire Stuart Hall experience. What you're not going to hear about tonight is what I want to talk about for just a minute, which is our location, our home in Stanton, Virginia. Whether you're a resident nearby or viewing this from anywhere else in the country or around the world, you'll come to learn, or your child will come to learn very quickly, that Stanton is an incredible place to live and to learn. We can't talk about Stuart Hall without also talking about the town of Stanton. Often named one of the top small towns in the United States, it is as a vibrant downtown, 2 blocks walking distance from our main campus, where our students will frequently go to visit coffee shops, bookstores, restaurants, just to get some fresh air, get a change of scenery. They will engage with things throughout the year. Our big fall Queen City Mischief and Magic Festival hosted by the town that takes on a real Harry Potter flavor. Or our Christmas parade hosted right after Thanksgiving that has well over 100 entries, different floats from around the community. And so many other ways that you really get to be not just a part of a school community, but a part of a larger community. It's an important part of how we teach and learn. It's an important part of how we live. And I cannot speak highly enough for what it means to me, to my family, and to all of us to be not just at a great school, but in a great town. So that is the home away from home, whether it's for a day or for a week, a month, or a year that a student would be with us. And it's just a little part of who we are, but it is an important part. I'm going to turn this back over to Tanya so you can hear a little bit more about what happens when your children are on campus. Thank you once again for joining us.
And one thing that I did forget to mention is I'm also the mother of a recent alum who is doing very well at the University of Massachusetts. And I credit, besides good parenting, I credit Stuart Hall for that. So anyway, to kick us off in terms of the presentations, Adam Seiler is up. He is our Dean of Faculty.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tanya, and thank you, Jason. Wherever you're joining us tonight, I'm so thrilled to have the opportunity to share a little bit about this special place, our immensely unique academic program, and how that program is going to personalize itself, attuned to your student, your son, your daughter, in a way that's going to leave them with tremendous learning outcomes. It's going to leave them happier. They're going to be more engaged. A slew of positives there. Yeah, Catherine, next slide for us. To sort of understand the Stuart Hall difference, right? I want to take us back in time and think a little bit about probably what a lot of people zooming in tonight experienced either at university or even in secondary school, which was something in the neighborhood of what you're seeing on the screen here, some sort of bell curvy, old school, norm-based grading, where the entire experience was actually more about the teacher than it was about the students, right? Like that. So Catherine, hit that next slide for us. And you'll see there's been a real sea change in the field of education, and Stuart Hall is on the forefront of it. What we have on the left here is sort of the old sage on stage model, where the teacher is charged with taking all of the knowledge they have, all of the content knowledge they have, and banking it, putting it by sheer force of will in those poor students in that black and white photograph right there, right? Like that. That is not what we do at Stuart Hall. Take a look at the right. I took this photo a number of months ago of Mr. Arnold, our assistant dean of faculty, and a truly, truly gifted educator. You'll hear from him in a few minutes, of a more student-centered experience, one where students are doing things, practicing skills. They have choice and agency over the curriculum, where time is flexible, where the curriculum can be intentional and personalized to those students you see in that photo, and of course in the classroom and across the entire campus there. That's a really big difference, moving from a teacher-centered model to a student-centered model. And it's good for at least 3 reasons. Number one, it's really good because your kid is going to be more engaged. They're going to learn more. They're going to make connections that are going to challenge them in ways that are really, really, really important, not only in the short-term learning, but their long-term potential. Number two, it's good because they're going to be happier, okay? Click that for me, Catherine. There we go. Look at that. Look at those happy Stuart Hall dragons right there, right? Like that. It feels better. Instead of getting talked to, you're working with people. You're connecting with people. And by extension, the community is built. And number three, the outcomes, the educational outcomes are way better. The data is totally clear on this, okay? You're going to hear in a number of minutes from our Director of College Counseling, Ashley Fleming, who has seen sort of the gamut of the old school model as well as the new school model, right? And not only do kids like it more and do they learn better, but the educational outcomes in terms of university or wherever your son or daughter would like to do with all their immense potential are good, right? Are better, in fact. So there's tremendous, tremendous evidence to suggest that this is actually something that would be good for just about everybody, but we find it for our students here in Stanton to be truly, truly, truly a massive positive. Click one more for me, Catherine. Yeah, I don't want to get too into the weeds, but I did want to share with you a little bit. I'm sure you're wondering right here, well, that all sounds well and good, Adam, but how do you do it? Right, like that. So I just wanted to give you a small flavor here, right? Again, a photograph I took, I don't know, 100 hours ago, right, of a math classroom. And then what you'll see on the right side of the screen here is actually kind of how the magic works, okay? Instead of lecturing for, a couple of months and then I roll out some big midterm or lab or whatever it is, instead, in the old school model, when I was writing the test, I wasn't telling the kids what was on the test, right? I was sort of sneaking around the edges. That's not what we do at Stuart Hall. We are very clear. We are intentional. We are transparent. We are direct with kids about what we want them to know and be able to do, right? And so if you take a look at this scale, we call it scale here, you might call it rubric. Essentially what it is it's a list of goals, learning outcomes that we challenge our students and of course support them to pursue. So at the beginning of the class, I just started my second semester psychology class this morning. I handed these out. I was very clear about where we're going in the semester. It's not some big secret, but instead it's very, very clear. And then my job, of course, as teacher is to scaffold and roll out the experiences in a way that's engaging and enjoying for the kids, but also builds them to come up and develop skills that, of course, work for them in the context of the classrooms at Stuart Hall, but then are also transferable in the real world, into college, into the job market, wherever that is. So again, what's the Stuart Hall difference? If you're in favor of your kid learning more and liking it and having tremendous educational outcomes, I think Stuart Hall is a pretty good call for you, right? So thank you so much. I want to turn it back over to Tanya in the moment. If you do have any questions or you want to nerd out with me about the academic program, feel free to reach out. Happy to talk with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And as a real world example of how this looks in the classroom, we have Mr. Brad Arnold. Brad?
Thank you. My name is Brad Arnold, and I am the Assistant Dean of Faculty. I am also a 20-year history and philosophy teacher at Stuart Hall. If you walk the halls during any given school day, you'll experience students engaged and active. While there will certainly be teachers standing in front of a class delivering important information, you'll also see students in groups or individually with material spread around the room, solving problems. The ability to confront problems and creatively solve them is the heart of education, whether the subject is history, science, math, or art. In a recent 9th grade history class, for example, students wanted to know why ancient China had a rich tradition of diverse philosophical thought. To find out, they read passages from Confucianism, Taoism, and legalism. Although the readings disagreed on the best type of government for people, students quickly identified a common theme. All the philosophers wrote about human nature. Students thus determined that one's view of human nature provided the solution to the problem of government in ancient China. In physics class, students learn about calculating velocity. They do more than simply plug numbers into a formula, however. Instead, Mr. Snyder provides several real-world scenarios in which there are different missing variables. The students, therefore, have to construct the correct equation given the available information in order to solve the problem. In band class, students learn a new arrangement to play for the school. The teacher, Mr. King, has carefully written individual parts based on the student's instrument and playing ability. The result is a Beatles medley that allows every musician to participate, regardless of whether they have played their instrument for years or months. 3 large banners hang in the school auditorium. Each banner contains a single word: curiosity, creativity, contribution. These represent the heart of our classroom experience. Teachers promote a curiosity about the world. Students find creative solutions to problems facing it. And the school contributes by sharing its talents with the wider community. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Brad. So now we're going to turn it over to Ashley Fleming.
Thank you. Yes, good evening. My name is Ashley Fleming. I'm the Director of College Counseling at Stuart Hall, and I'm also the Director of Studies. So as part of the academic support team, I work with students not just on college planning, but throughout their academic journey at Stuart Hall. A theme I hope you're hearing tonight is student-centered. So I'd like to start by highlighting just a few special features and some updates to our program. First, Stuart Hall's small size allows me to provide individual support for each student, tailored to their interests, their needs, and their timeline. I pride myself on responsiveness and availability to my students every step of the way. Another point of pride for me is expansion of college counseling services for greater awareness of the process in lower grade levels. I want to be clear that doesn't mean test prep or admissions requirements in 9th or 10th grade, but it does mean helping students find their strengths and their interests, making sure they're taking advantage of all of our programs and opportunities at Stuart Hall, and then communicating who they are and what they've learned in those programs through the application process. Next slide, please. So just very briefly, early high school is a time for exploration, trying things out, looking ahead to course sequences, available electives, co-curricular experiences, just to get students thinking beyond this year to look at a 4-year plan. As students move into the 10th and 11th grades, we're hoping they found that handful of activities or academic areas where they can make focused and sustained commitments and eventually become leaders. Next slide, please. And finally, when they are in 11th and 12th grades, students are then ready to articulate all they've done and their goals and plans for the future when it is time to apply to college. I aim to provide full support throughout the process, whether that means daily visits to my office or changing plans as a student's goals evolve. Pardon me. In terms of outcomes, oh, I'm sorry, next slide, please. I'm so sorry, my dog is here with me. In terms of outcomes for students, we have a lot to be proud of. Stuart Hall students are accepted to outstanding colleges where they excel and lead. For many of them, that means highly selective colleges, but for all of them, I aim to find a great fit where they can thrive. For some students, that might also mean taking a gap year or looking at community college, and I support those plans as well. And every fall, we hear back from graduates who visit us on fall break or send emails to tell us how well their Stuart Hall education prepared them. So to conclude, the college application process is just the culmination of our program, which is driven by a desire to help students find what drives them and what inspires them as they move into the next phase of their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. So we're going to bring Adam back on to talk about our co-curricular program.
Wonderful. Thank you, Tanya. Learning at Stuart Hall is not confined to the classroom. The photographs you see on the slide here are firsthand evidence of the growth, the engagement, the meaning making, the connections, all the wonderful achievements that occur with Stuart Hall students during school and after school as well. So the co-curricular program, in most schools, there's some clubs, maybe some sports, something like that. What's really unique about Stuart Hall is the robust co-curricular offering that spans everything from very traditional offerings like maybe soccer or basketball or something like that, but brings in drama and art and woodworking and Tai Chi and yoga and cooking and paper modeling. I mean, the degree to which your child will have the opportunity to identify and explore new passions, try new things, pivot to something else with their friends is staggering for a school of this size. Absolutely incredible. All of our teachers offer these co-curriculars. So again, you might know a teacher in one context during the school day and get to know them in a totally different context after school. So as we conceptualize it, the time is sort of flexible. The learning is not flexible at Stuart Hall. That's always going to be the constant. How and when it's occurring for your kid, how and when their growth is being rolled out, that's the flexible point. So the co-curricular offerings, I can promise you, if your student were to matriculate at Stuart Hall, will be amongst their most favorite things, right, at the school. It's what they'll talk to you about, and it's really something special. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. And now, Jason, if you could rejoin us and tell us all a little bit about what campus life is like at Stuart Hall.
Absolutely. I'm pinch hitting tonight, but I'm happy to do so. As I think I shared at the top, I was the Dean of Students and Campus Life here for 3 years before stepping into the head of school's office. And it's been a lot of fun to see how the school has really evolved its student life and campus life program philosophy approach over the last few years. There are a few things that are distinctive. And I think if you look at this list here, every school is going to talk about their advisory program, about their leadership development, about residence life. And then in some ways, they're going to talk about some of the unique programs. What makes us different are a couple of things. One is our size. We are small intentionally. And what that means is we really can get to know every student well. A core feature of student life at Stuart Hall is that any adult should be able to walk by virtually any student after the first few weeks of the school year and already know that student well enough, regardless of age or grade, to know, is that student having a good day, bad day? Is there a apparent change in mood? Might we want to check in, touch base, let somebody else know? It's just who we are, what we do, and how we do it. Now, we try to weave this into the programs that you see listed here, starting with our advisory program. In addition to really focusing on the individual, our advisory program is really designed to be developmentally appropriate. Our sixth graders, for example, our sixth grade class is very much like an elementary school class in the sense that they have a core teacher who handles the main subjects, math, English, history, and science, and then hands off to other teachers for some other subjects. But we did this on purpose. This is atypical for a middle school, but we did this on purpose because research shows that sixth grade is a really critical transitional year for students. And giving them a teacher who spends over half of every day with them, knows them well, cares about them, knows every family well, makes a big difference. We carry this through into our 7th and 8th grades, where their advisories are focused on getting to know one another, working together, a lot of social emotional learning, coupled with some individual and group focus on study skills and organization, some other things that middle school students need to really help them through this important developmental phase. In the upper school, we continue to group our students by cohort. 9th and 10th graders are grouped together, 11th and 12th graders are grouped together. Different focus in each grade because these students need different things. The other piece of this that's so helpful is it allows the older students in each cohort to serve as mentors for our younger students, to role model, to help them learn more about the school, school life, school culture, learn from their own experiences. This transitioning into leadership is just one way that we think about developing student leaders here and really fostering student leadership. Leadership fundamentally is an activity. Leadership is something that you do. It's not about a title. That's what we believe. And so we have leadership positions here, an honor council, a student government, resident assistants in the dormitories. But what's more important to us is that we really focus on students figuring out what do they see, where do they see a need, and how could they attack it? How could they make a difference? How could they have an impact on the school and the world around them? In recent years, just these kinds of questions led to the establishment of a sustainability club, led to a group of students starting to really actually begin to understand philanthropy and what that means and why that's important to a school. A group of students seeing a need and starting on their own a student newspaper as a club right now, just a way for them to connect and inform the community about things that are going on both here and in the outside world. All fantastic examples of leadership. None of them involved an application, none of them involved an election. It was just about seeing a need and pursuing that need. Leadership does continue into residence life, which for me really is the ultimate example of leadership development and of mentoring and role modeling all the way through. I have been in boarding schools for 24 years. I went to a boarding school. I was an RA throughout my time at university. I cannot think of anything better for developing, becoming, and really understanding who you are, who you want to be, developing great self-awareness, freedom and independence and responsibility than to be part of a residence life program where you are learning to live with others, with a roommate, with others from other states, other countries, different interests, different backgrounds, really diving into what it means to share common spaces, to respect one another, also how to take care of your own self, whether it's doing your laundry, cleaning your room, or thinking again about how could you get involved and how could you help others really feel a part of this community. One of the really important things to me about a good boarding program, a good residence life program, is that it's not just for the boarding students. It's a comprehensive program. A day student at a boarding school is very much like a boarding student at a boarding school. The only real difference is where they sleep at the end of the night. Some have a commute that's a drive, some have a commute that's climbing a flight of stairs. But in terms of their ability to get involved, to engage, to learn from one another, to be on campus, to take part in activities, all of these things are available to everybody, certainly in our boarding program in grades 8 through 12. But quite frankly, you'll find 6th and 7th graders sticking around late, working with a teacher when they don't have to be here, working on a project, visiting with friends, taking on a new activity, finding ways to get involved and to naturally develop these habits of mind and these skills around leadership. Continuing in this residence life vein and campus activities overall, if we could have the next slide, I'd love to share just a little bit about student activities. We do program activities every weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. These are open to all of our students, often in those boarding grades 8 through 12, but they're open to you whether you're a boarding or a day student. And then we do also programs specifically for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. To be an 8th grader is kind of to get the best of both worlds. These are all ways to explore, to try new things. As you see there, whether it's go on a hike, go to a trampoline park, pumpkin farm in the fall, go bowling. This is a chance to spend time with other people and do something fun. Maybe it's something you've done before. Maybe it's something that's brand new to you. Maybe you're with all your close friends. Maybe you're with a group of people that you've never been with before. No matter the crowd or the activity, these are opportunities open to all of our students, and so many of them take advantage of it every weekend because of what it does for them to get involved, and really become who they want to be and learn so much more about themselves. I spoke at the top here about Stanton and the many wonderful things about Stanton. And we talk a lot about Stanton being part of our campus. And the emphasis there is on Stanton, right? We consider ourselves very fortunate to be part of such a vibrant community where our students can partake in informal activities, walking into town, visiting, just getting some fresh air, walking to a local park, as well as the formal activities that I named earlier. And that's just one piece of Stanton really being an extension of who we are and very much an extension of our classrooms and how we learn. One thing, if you'll take me to the next slide, that we really try to do is be good neighbors and be good citizens. We seek ways to learn from our community, whether it's by taking advantage of local resources such as the Frontier Culture Museum, or to volunteer, whether it's at a local food pantry or doing a cleanup in a local park, but also just to find so many ways to understand what else is happening in our community. My favorite example of stewardship, which is very much what it is, was actually something that happened in the classroom, but it really emphasizes just how important Stanton is to us. In the fall, a group of students in a class that studies civics and government realized that there was a city council election coming up, and there had been various council forums for candidates in town. And the teacher had this idea that maybe Stuart Hall could help host a forum. She pitched it to her students. Her students said they'd love to. And then they took complete ownership. They wrote the letters to invite the candidates to attend. They promoted it and reached out to the local media. They drafted the questions. They rehearsed. They set up and learned how to run a live stream in addition to hosting the forum on one of our buildings on campus. This was really a way for us to have a huge impact on the community by letting even more people engage in the local political process. It's also a fantastic learning experience for our students. And my favorite part of that story is that this was not a 12th grade AP government class that did this. This was our 7th grade civics class, practicing all these skills and really exploring just how much of an impact they could have. One of many examples, more than happy to share more, but that's what student life and campus life and our connection to Stanton looks like. And I'll hand back to Tanya. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. And last but not least, we have Miranda Hogan, who will talk a little bit about our learning support services that we offer at Stuart Hall.
Hi, my name is Miranda Hogan, as Tanya said. I'm the Director of Wellness and Learning Support Services. At Stuart Hall, we absolutely believe that every student is capable of academic achievement and becoming a successful and engaged whole person. And part of that belief is acknowledging that some students may need a higher level of support to reach that achievement and success. Our support services program allows for students with a demonstrated need to gain an extra layer of oversight and help and intervention on the academic and the wellness side. We provide integrated support through our wraparound services that's really based on the student's individual needs. Additionally, I work with our teachers and staff to ensure that students are getting what they require, whether that's in class, on dorm, or during any of our other academic or non-academic times. Our goal is really to meet students where they are, work with them, work with their families to help them get to that next level, and really celebrate their progress along the way. I would love to talk more with you about this in details. Please feel free to throw questions in the chat I'm happy to give you whatever additional information you might need.
Thank you, Miranda. And I'll just add a little story of my own based on last year when my son had a bit of senioritis and was not completing his work as he should. And Miranda reached out to me and to Charlie to let us both know what was going on and to ensure that Charlie would show up for study hall and the library where Miranda would make sure he was getting his work done. So learning support is not just for those maybe who have a higher need, but for everyone. So Miranda really supports all of the parents, all of the students at the school. And I, for one, was very grateful for her help and intervention there. So thank you to everyone who joined us tonight, and for all of our lovely faculty and staff who added to this. At this point, if there are any questions, I know there's a lot of information shared with you this evening, but if there's anything that you would like to ask now, please feel free to put that into the chat. If not, I think the next slide, Catherine has our admissions email, and feel free to email us there, and I can certainly get you in contact with anyone who's presented tonight. You can also find all of our contact information on our lovely website. But at this point, does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask? Give it a couple minutes. Do any of our lovely panelists have anything else they'd like to add to what they discussed tonight? I think we were all pretty thorough in the presentations. So at this point, Jason, any final words before we let everyone go and enjoy their Tuesday evening?
Other than yet another expression of appreciation for everybody who's joined us tonight, or pardon me, who is viewing this later, and also to just highlight once again what an incredible community this is to be a part of. It really is something that you have to experience, and we hope that you will, whether it's a day to visit campus tour, have your student shadow, or if it's a time when you perhaps hop on a Zoom with Tanya or Maria and just ask some questions and learn some more. Makes a huge difference in sort of your understanding of the community, and we'd love to share more.
Great. There is one question. What grades are at the Stanton campus? So we are grades 6 through 12, and we begin boarding in grade 8. And if you were a parent who was at the lower school, then you may have had Jen Bartley, who we're very lucky to have brought with us for 6th grade. So yes, those are our current grades. This is where Stuart Hall started, and it is our where we have been quite successful in both middle school and upper school and preparing students for university or wherever life may take them. Any other questions? If not, then again, thank you all for joining us. I do encourage you, if you are anywhere nearby, to come and visit campus. And to schedule a shadow day, just email admissions@stewart-hall.org, and we will get that all set up for you. We're really flexible on the dates and times for that. So just email us. We'll get that all worked out for you. Student can stay a half day, a whole day, but it really is a great way to experience Stuart Hall. And we actually just started our 2nd semester. So there's a lot going on campus that your student could be, your child could be part of. And if they would like to stay all day in the afternoon for co-curricular, they're welcome to do that as well. Esports is one of the most popular ones, I think, amongst our male students, and but there's certainly a lot to choose from. Yes, and so that's admissions@stewart-hall.org. And our website is stewarthallschool.org, right? Oh, I had that break. stewarthallschool.org. So you can find all of our contact information on there. And Again, thank you all for joining us this evening. And if you are in the area, stay safe and warm tonight. And I hope to see you on campus soon. Thank you.